RC Scale really is trying to replicate a full-size aircraft as a model. You can do it on a number of levels, but effectively you're trying to replicate the full size down to a much smaller scale and then fly it in the competitions that we have, or fly it within your own sphere of ability. It's not necessarily all about competition, but that's part of what we do. For our competition here in New Zealand, we have three categories. Basically, one is what we call a sportsman category, and it's effectively as long as the model that's flown represents a full-size aircraft, and whether it's a ready-to-fly or a scratch-built aeroplane, it's just the flying component that we judge. We also have a team scale version of that, which is the same side of it. The main competition that we run is an international class. It's called F4C, and there are two components to that. There's the flying component, and there's also the measuring or judging of the model for its accuracy. It's very difficult to actually build a scale model that you don't have a huge interest in. And then do as much research as you can. You can do your research on the net, you can look through libraries. There's just publications for Africa that you can find information on. The best thing you can do is model an aeroplane that's at an airport near you that you can go and look at, crawl all over, photograph at it, as many parts of it as you can and want to do.
Well, I'm currently working on another Spitfire, which is based on one my father used to fly in 1943. That's a slightly different version of a Mark 9, which an early model which was actually started out life as a Mark 5 on the production line, so had the early Mark 5 tailplane and a smaller carburetor intake, things like that, and it was very hard to find information, and there's no colour photos of aircraft of that era, so that's all part of the interest for me. There's the aircraft, but there's also the history as well.
In the F4C scale system, 50% of your marks are for the accuracy of your aeroplane, and you have to document it from the point of view of the accuracy of the outline of the aeroplane, which obviously makes up a big component, but also the details, the colour, the craftsmanship that you've put into your model. They get to see all that, and you need to be able to document all those aspects so that you lead the judges through marking your model, and you lead them to what you want them to see, not what they think they can see. And then I found after a while, we went to the World Champs in 2000, and that was hugely influential for us. It just let us see how the top international people presented their models, flew their models, but probably the most important thing for us was how they documented their model. The flying styles are similar but a little bit different, but their documentation was what made the difference between the models we took across there and it's what they had. So we brought that back, and we had a much better appreciation of what was needed to compete at that level.
Getting a good, outer shell, if you like, a representation of the aircraft is important. Also, I like the engineering side of it to make sure it's engineered properly, it's going to fly well, and everything's going to work as advertised when it's up there.
Some people like researching them and finding out the detail. They might not necessarily transfer it onto the model. People like building them. A lot of people prefer to build and not necessarily fly. A lot of them don't put a lot of work into the research side of it, and they get it to a basic point where they're happy with it, but they love flying it. So it goes across all the spectrum of that. Primarily, is to find themselves a simple aeroplane to model, something that's got a good flying reputation. It's not too difficult. Doesn't necessarily have to have retractable undercarriage, but it could just be a fixed undercarriage aeroplane, whether it's a high wing monoplane or a low wing monoplane. Something that's quite simple, that could be based on an ARF kit, or could be an ARF kit.
I've always built from plans, and I guess if you're designing your own, you probably have to build in quite a bit more time to figure out various little glitches that you come across during the process. But yeah, stick to a reputable plan or a kit, and you can, if you're starting out, then a kit's a good place to start. You can always tweak it a bit and to your own specifications.
You'll find that if you come along to these events, that once you have a flight, it's not difficult. People are actually quite helpful, and they encourage you to fly your model and help you out in whatever way we can.